What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's Aeron next from the Wrestle Plug once again, and I'm back to discuss Impact Wrestling. Man, if something's good, I'll say it's good, and if something's shit, I'll say it's shit. And as you know, I'm very honest on this channel. I really love Impact Wrestling, and for the last few weeks especially, but overall for the last couple of years in particular, I really enjoyed this program. Until tonight, I thought this was crap. I've got to be honest. And it's not the talent's fault, but the show itself was booked really, really poorly. Main event was great. Opening was okay, bit clusterfucky. Now, obviously, Rich Swann, everyone's gunning for the champ, and I quite like the segment, Moose coming down, and all these guys saying, hey, give me a title shot. Ultimately, Rich Swann has set up a title match with Tommy Dreamer and No Surrender. There's the first problem, right? There's nothing wrong with these guys. I think Rich Swann is one of the best champions in the world right now in wrestling. All in all, I think he's vastly underrated. However, Tommy Dreamer. I love Tommy Dreamer, man. But like he said, he's 50 years old. It feels like a Lifetime Achievement Award. It feels like a charitable donation, so to speak. I have no interest in seeing Tommy Dreamer versus Rich Swann. I obviously know that Tommy Dreamer's not going to capture the title. It doesn't feel competitive. It doesn't feel like something that I would set a pay-per-view on. And I assume, because it's for the title, it'll be in the main event. Right now, I'm looking at No Surrender and thinking, am I going to stay up and watch that? Probably not. And this is probably one of Impact's biggest issues, is, of course, if they don't use more mainstream talent for the mini pay-per-views that they have on Impact Plus, or, you know, using an Impact itself, an episode to tape kind of a mini pay-per-view, they just feel a little bit weak by comparison to, obviously, their main shows. Hard to Kill was fantastic, all in all, I thought. A couple of duds, but overall, a great show. Slammiversary, Bound for Glory, normally tends to really hit well. This, not so much. And this show was just full of rubbish. Stuff that didn't really matter. Rohit Raju's backstage, talking to some guy, hoping it's going to be exciting. Hopefully it might be an AEW talent. Apparently he's got somebody who's going to help him win back the X Division Championship from TJP. That'll be next week. To be fair, this show, for me, and that was kind of a microcosm, that moment with Rohit Raju, that kind of summed up the whole show. A lot of the stuff here was pretty much a setup for next week's show. Joshua Alexander and Matt Cardona pick up a win over Ace Austin and Madman Fulton, or Mad Max Fulton, whatever the fuck his name is. Again, you know, I'm pleased that all these guys got to be on TV. Match was reasonably good. But, you know, it's great to see Alexander get a win. Hopefully he's pushing in the right direction, soon to be getting into that heavyweight title picture. But I don't really give a toss. And then Matt Cardona's backstage. They kind of nip it in the bud with the whole Brian Myers reunion. He goes, oh, look, you're hanging out with my Janae. Thought that was a good line. But again, these little segments they do backstage. And I think, man, give me more of that. You know, give me more of that entertainment aspect. But I'll tell you what really didn't hit and what really left a sour taste in my mouth for this show was that Fire and Flava segment. That was hot garbage, I'll be honest with you. I really like Johnny Swinger. I find him quite funny. So the idea is that they haven't got many friends and nobody wants to come to their shitty party. It was, you know, just a complete rip-off of Fire Festival. Yes, I got it. I've seen the Netflix documentary. This would have been quite cool if you'd done this like a year or so ago when the documentary dropped on Netflix. It's almost like, you know, somebody saw it, oh, Fire Festival. Oh, yeah, that's like that documentary that nobody gives a shit about anymore. Let's do that. It was horrible. It was so poorly delivered, the acting, and it was like it was so tacky and so carny to a point. Like, when Johnny Bravo got shot, right? That was Carnival, obviously, but it was fun and it was entertaining, and you felt like the guys and the girls were trying to deliver comedy through Carney, and it worked. This was just so garbage, and it just made no sense. The only thing that really redeemed it even slightly until they were attacked was Alicia Edwards, who I thought, she's just so adorable. You know, Eddie Edwards has really bagged himself a good in there. But it stunk. This segment stunk. And people are on the internet right now, social media, saying, oh my God, that was so funny. How hilarious. Oh my God, Nevaeh was the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Honestly, I was so thankful when Nevaeh and Havoc jumped him because it was just screaming. It was like, you know, I was watching Jessica Havoc stream of it, ironically enough. And, you know, she said, yo, this is a ratchet party. Yeah, it felt really ratchet. Like, it just felt so fucking shit and tacky. And if the segment is solely to make you hate them, good job. because I just came away from that thinking, wow. But what pissed me off about it is the fact that Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz are actually super, super talented women who can go in the ring, who can talk on the mic, who look stunning. This was very much their Bayley and Alexa Bliss, this is your life moment. This fucking bombed. It was so bad. And you got to believe that if there was a full audience, they would have booed the house down. And also, let's be honest, guys, if WWE did a segment like this, we'd all be over it, wouldn't we? We'd all be saying, what a pile of shit, can you believe it? Just because Impact doesn't wrestle in front of a large audience, just because it has a very small audience on Twitch, it's not on a major TV broadcast for whatever reason, doesn't mean it's excused from churning out stuff that's far too carny. That kind of stuff is what turns off fans, okay? That's the kind of stuff that makes you think, is Vince Russo still here? Is TNA still floating around? Oh, I'm expecting Dixie Carter to stick her head out and go, nice, nice. Dare I say, I almost missed Tony Khan this week, and I hate that little dweeb. So that spoke volumes about that segment. On the positive side of things, though, the main event was fantastic, and we were promised a kind of surprise partner. Obviously, the guys are backstage. Scott D'Amore's like, look, you're outnumbered, but don't worry about it. I've got the perfect guy to step in for you. And we have the return of the other rascal himself. Yes, indeed. Flying solo from now on. The Fresh Prince of Midair, Trey Miguel. I'm so thrilled. Nice little look as well. Looks like he's dyed his hair. Still sick as ever. Shredded, handsome motherfucker that he is. And he picked up the win as well. Surprise win over Sami Callihan in a really good competitive match. Can I just say as well, again, Moose comes out. Great presence. Have you noticed how whenever they have guys like Moose or Rich Swann or Chris Bay or Willie Mack, all of a sudden, the segments feel like they have star power. They feel like they have quality. That opening segment, for instance, with all of them, you know, bantering back and forth on the mic. And then, of course, the main event as well. Having those guys in there can do a little less of a Ken Shamrock, as far as I'm concerned, though. I have no time for Ken Shamrock at this point. Not because I don't love him. He was one of my favourite wrestlers in the Attitude Era. That was 1998. We're now 23 years removed from that. Do you look amazing for your age, Ken? Absolutely. Could you hand me my ass? No fucking question. Do you look like a half-melted wax candle that shouldn't be on TV? Yes, you do, Ken. I have not got any time for it anymore. I do not want to see old WWE talents. I don't want to see Rhino. I'm not that bothered about Tommy Dreamer. Okay? I don't want to see the discarded talents, guys like Brian Myers and Matt Cardona clogging up the system. I want to see Chris Bay. I want to see Winnie Mac. I want to see Moose. I want to see Rich Swann. Have you noticed something there? A lot of these guys have cut their teeth either in this company or in smaller companies around it. They're not discarded products from elsewhere. And I want to see more of that. Main event was great. Felt reasonably big time. Like the juxtaposition between the two teams. One of my favourite moments in the match was when Moose gave that pop-up powerbomb to Chris Bay and just fucking slammed him back down onto the opponent. Oh, that's sick. It was almost kind of like, you're my partner, but I'm happy to use you and damage you to get what we need to do. I loved it. Man, Moose is, for me, one of my favourite wrestlers in the world right now. I feel like Moose is everything any company would want in their heavyweight champion. I think it's just a matter of time. I'm really hoping he's going to attack Kenny Omega at some point and live up to his promise that he made at Hard to Kill backstage against Don Callis, because I feel like that would really draw me more into AEW Dynamite, which frankly for me has been pretty trash for a while now. But that would draw me in more. But as an Impact fan, I've got to say this disappointed. I don't care about Joe Doering versus cousin Jake. At the end of the match, he threw him a Vinyl by Design flag. Here you go. Think about maybe joining us instead of getting your leg broken. Great. Don't give a toss, really. These all feel like B-plus players floating around, just filling gaps. And ultimately as well, even the women's match, Tenille Dashwood again losing. I know it's to Rosemary, who's kind of a bigger talent, and I'm glad they're pushing Decay in the right way. And it looks like Decay are going to be having this kind of clash with Larry D and AC Romero, because obviously we now know that it was Rosemary who kind of helped set up, using Ty Valkyrie, obviously, set up Larry D, so to speak, although Rosemary obviously will claim that it's kind of got nothing to do with her. I just feel like this kind of stuff is not really worth being on TV. And Tenille Dashwood as well, I've said this before, she feels like a bigger star, a bigger talent, and she's not getting used at all. On top of that, TJP wasn't on this show. That's your X Division champion. Your women's champion, Donna Purrazzo, was in this kind of flippant 10-second backstage segment. Your tag team champions weren't on this show at all. So the only champion I had was the World Heavyweight Champion. Ultimately, if you only had access to one, it would be him. But when they're doing these TV tapings, instead of trying to cram extra people in and finding things for them to do, let's turf out some of this, cut our budget even more, and just use the guys and the girls that feel like genuine talents who could be used. I don't need to see throwaway matches like Cousin Jake versus Joe Doring. I've got no emotional interest in that. I don't think the overall audience is really going to enjoy it. People can say, oh, I love it so much, just because they don't like WWE or AEW for whatever reason. But it just felt really, really low rent. And that Fire and Flava Festival angle was fucking hot garbage. It was so bad. It's probably one of the worst things I've seen on Impact in a while. And Impact has a history every now and then of really shitting the bed. And my lord, did it shit the bed in this segment. And it hurts even more knowing that it was two really high quality talents in Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steele. So ultimately, for me, Impact very much felt like it had zero impact. Other than the main event, seeing Trey Miguel come back and obviously seeing my favourites, Willie Mack and Chris Bay and Moose doing the business as I always expect them to do, there was literally nothing for me to get my teeth into. Way too many old men running around from, you know, past glories. Like I say, half-melted candle wax men running around like Ken Shamrock. It's not my cup of tea. But I want to know what you guys think of Impact. Did you watch it this week? Let me know what you thought. Make sure you like and subscribe, of course, to the channel. Once we hit 200 subscribers, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be giving away a free t-shirt or a free piece of art, depending on your preference, I guess. And we've also got a lot more wrestling goodies to give away. I'm not going to show them to you right now, but every 100 subscribers that we get, until the end of February, we are going to give away some wrestling merch. So it's important that you share this channel, let your friends know, and ultimately let them decide whether they enjoy this channel, because we're trying to give you an honest take on wrestling, a fresh take on wrestling. And most importantly, we're here to interact with you as well, and not just pretend that you're there like other channels do. I genuinely give a shit about what you guys think, and I genuinely care, and I'm thankful for the interactions that you give me. From myself, Aaron Nix, thank you very much for watching, and we'll catch you very soon for more content from the Wrestle Plug.